All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Loft. If you guys are new here, please like, comment, subscribe. And if you're not new, welcome back. Haven't done an episode like this ever. First off, Kayla Smith, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. You reached out a few days ago. We got this right away. You reached out to me, and a few other people reached out to me. And one thing about, this podcast is it's all about people's whys and people telling their stories. And when you reached out to me about your son, Javier, it moved me a lot. I actually remember seeing a story, and I'm going to let you tell it, just for like the viewers and people watching. So I want to thank you for having the courage to reach out and tell your story. And be completely honest with you, there's not a single thing I can do to take your pain away of losing a child. It's not normal. But what I can do is offer my condolences to you and your family and your son. And I can also allow you to come on here and we can have him live on. And I want to talk about just what makes him so great, and what, the light that he is in everyone's life. And I want you to tell your story. So Kayla, I want you to I want you to tell your story.
So it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. It wasn't like a non-typical day. There were a few things that weren't normal, like the fact that I was supposed to be working overnight shift that day, but instead I switched to like day shift. So the night before too as well, I was already working overnight. So when you work overnight, you sleep for most of the day. And since I had to work day shift that day, I slept pretty much most of the day. The day that my son's last day, I slept pretty much most of it. Woke up, got ready, went to work.
When was this, by the way? What was the date?
This was July 22nd.
July 22nd, okay.
So he died at 3 a.m. So it was already the 23rd. It had went into the next day. But his last day was the 22nd. So if I was home, either A, I would have been there, or B, they would have never went crab fishing. So his dad, they go crab fishing a lot. We go crab fishing a lot. And we always go up by Atlantic City. We try to do things out of Philadelphia because of so much crime here. And we're very protective parents. So we would rather drive the hour, 30 minutes away than to be here doing stuff here. So we ended up doing crab fishing a lot. Most of the times we would put a tent up. We would stay out there all night. So they went crab fishing. I'm at work. I ended up staying for the overnight shift anyway because they were out crab fishing and I didn't want to go home alone. So I waited for them to be done crab fishing. So now we're at like 2 a.m. and I call his dad and I'm checking on him and I'm asking them like, hey, like, what are you guys doing? Like, how's the crabs going? Their bucket was almost full, so they were about to head out. So he tells me at like 2:30, like, Javi's getting tired. I'm about to pack up. So I guess from 2:30 to like 3:15, I guess my son ended up going into the car, falling asleep while his dad packed up the fishing rods and the crab nets and, etc. His dad said he fell asleep for maybe 10, 15 minutes as he was packing up. And when he went to turn around to grab a fishing rod, the drunk driver slammed into my son and he killed him. He was going 107 miles per hour. My son was trapped in the car. They couldn't even get him out of the car for quite some time until fire department had to literally clamp the door open to get him out. He was trapped in there. That night, the guy was charged with DUI, speeding, and reckless driving. But he was let home that same night. He got to go home that same night. While we were still on top of our son's dead body, he was already home with his mom. So that's where we're at with it right now. It's been a month already. He's still been free this entire month.
Is there a court date set or anything?
So there was originally a court date for the traffic citations, which are DUI, the reckless, the speeding. And that was supposed to be September 11th. However, we found out today that those charges are not even actually valid right now. They're still in a pending state. So in Jersey, it all boils down to Jersey. That's what the whole purpose of speaking to you is about. That's the whole purpose of me speaking to the mayor of New Jersey, the senator of New Jersey. It's because of Jersey laws allowed this man to be able to go home that same night. So I just think it's inhumane. I think it's not normal for someone to be able to kill a kid and get to go home that night. I don't think that's okay in any type of way. And not only can we not just realize what happened to our kid, but every time we think about what happened to our kid, we have to think of him. In order to think of our son and what happened to him, you have to think of him. And every time we think of him, he's free. He's home. He got to go home with his mom, but my son didn't get to go home with his mom. Right. So I just don't understand it.
Have you tried reaching out and making contact with them?
With who?
The senator and
we are in contact with the senator. We are in contact with the mayor. They've agreed to hold our hand with this. Like, they've agreed to walk us through this. We are going to fight for law changes, but obviously all of that stuff takes time. It's not going to apply to my son's case. Like, we have to suffer for it. Like, we have to suffer for it in order to make the change for the next family.
But, my question is, why isn't there like a homicide charge in this? Or
they didn't charge him with my son's death yet. That's the problem. He got charged that night with all of those charges, but didn't get charged with my son's death, as if he didn't even kill my son, or as if my son wasn't in that car, like as if my son didn't exist at all. They didn't charge him with that. Reason being, supposedly, is because they're waiting for toxicology reports in order to charge him. Once again, falls back because of Jersey's laws. They're unable to charge him with that right now because in Jersey it has speedy trials. If they were to charge him right now with my son's murder, they would send him through a speedy trial, and if they did that, the detectives, they wouldn't have the evidence that they needed to put him away for the maximum amount, at least. They would probably just like slap him on the wrist with the DUI charges, the speeding, and all that. Obviously, they would charge him with the manslaughter, but it wouldn't be as crucial as it would be if they had all of these things racked up with it.
Right.
Like, you know?
So right now you're actively trying to put those things into place so that that way justice can be served.
Yeah.
So I mean, horrible thing to happen to anyone, especially a mother. After the fact, like now that, you know, the funeral's happened, the dust is settled, like how are you?
I'm just going to tell you what I tell everybody. I don't know how to answer that question. I don't have an answer for that question because obviously, as you can imagine, I'm not well. I'm not okay, you know, like I don't sleep at night. I'm up crying all night, you know, I'm not well. I'm constantly thinking about the what ifs, the whys, the hows, you know, like it's like constantly on my brain. We've already been past a month and I constantly say this too, like I'm still stuck on that day. Like for me, time hasn't moved. Like for me, I can recall everything. I can recall the phone call I got. I can recall how my son's father was screaming. I can remember him saying how he's trapped in the car. And I remember hearing the police talking in the background. And I remember rushing to the hospital. I remember in front of the Fishtown Diner, I'm on the floor in the middle of the street as soon as I got the phone call. And I'm on my hands and my knees in the middle of the street screaming up to a God that now I don't even know exists, which that would have never been a question for me. I knew he existed. Like, I thought I had a relationship with God, like, you know, and a lot of people get mad that I am now questioning my faith, but who are you to tell me? Who are you to tell me how I can and cannot feel? You know what I'm saying? Because a God that loved me and loved my child would have at least protected him somehow, you know, like, or at least woke him up. I know it wasn't God that took my kid, but you could have woke him up. I've seen miracles happen before. And the way we were screaming and praying to that man up there, asking him to wake him up while we were standing right next to his dead body and he didn't wake him up. And you, like, my son looked in good condition, you know, like he wasn't like banged up, like as you would think he would be from the car crash. Like he was still okay. Like, so we didn't think that he wasn't just gonna not wake up, like, you know, but time is not moving for me. Like for me, I'm still stuck right there. Like I'm still stuck there. And it dwells on me because I'm a mom. It's our job to protect. It's our job to be there. And I wasn't there. And not only, like, I was all the way down here. They're all the way in Atlantic City. It usually takes an hour and 30 minutes. I got there in 30 minutes, but that still wasn't enough time. That wasn't enough time to get to him.
I mean, you can't blame yourself in any way.
I don't blame myself, but it hurts that I wasn't there during his final moments. It hurts that I wasn't able to be part of the crew that tried to rescue him out of the car or seen him take his last breaths. Like, I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't there for him to hear my voice for those last minutes. Now, I'm hoping that he was literally like in a deep sleep where it just happened suddenly and he didn't feel anything. Like, you know, like I hope that that's how it went. But once again, I wasn't there. So how would I know?
Right. But you were there when he was born.
Absolutely.
There. So
I know.
So I want to talk about, you know, what made him so special. Like what makes Javier so special, and because I've seen the community like really rally around you and everything that you guys have been doing in terms of like you know, just the outreach and the awareness. Why do you think that people are so attached to your son?
Well, I think mostly for parents, regardless if you knew him or if you didn't know him, but when you see his videos and you can just feel his energy and like how happy he was, how healthy he was, like his belly was plump, his cheeks were full, he had a big smile, like he was not a unhappy kid, he was a happy kid and he was a loved kid. So I think that's why it's hurting so much for everyone, because they're seeing me post all of our memories, they're seeing his dad post all of his memories, and they're seeing like that kid was really loved. And not only that, but all of his TikTok videos that I have, all of his singing videos that I have, like he was just so energetic, he was happy, you know, he was a regular little 8-year-old boy. He liked gaming, he liked YouTube, he liked riding his bike, riding his scooter, playing with his brother, fighting with his brother, you know, like he was just him. He was him, and he was him in the best way. Like he was just so full of happiness. Like when you would walk into a room or you would walk into a party, you would see him and he would just be there dancing already or partying already or singing already. He would always just try to be like the center of attention, which a lot of kids do that, but he really grabbed the attention,
Right,
you know,
right.
like he was Javi. Like everyone knew who he was, and he was my firstborn. So, and I was the type of mom, like everywhere I went, everything I did, he was there with me. So a lot of my friends, a lot of my families, like a lot of people have seen us at carnivals or at events or, you know, fishing places or, you know, car meets, etc. Like people used to see us around. Philly's small. So, you know, a lot of the events that people go to, a lot of people attend to them. So you would see local families around and you could see everyone. That's most of the messages that I get, is that they'll tell me like, we seen you here and we seen how much of a good mom you were. We seen how like attentive I was. Like, no, don't run too far up ahead against me. Or like he always had to walk in the front. He could never walk in the back. Like I had to have all eyes on him. Like, you know, like I think that's what it is, that everyone just sees, like everyone sees our pain and they're feeling it. You understand? Like they're feeling what we're feeling by looking at these videos, looking at these pictures, looking at these memories. And I'm very raw and blunt when I speak. When I'm posting these things on Instagram, I'm not holding back.
I could tell.
I'm not holding back because I'm not sparing anybody's feelings.
Right.
This is about me. This is about my kid. This is about my family and the tragedy we just went through.
Right.
If you're not able to see this raw truth, you don't have to follow. You don't have to follow the story. But if I'm going to do my son's story, it's going to be 100%. It's going to be the truth. It's gonna be real. Like you're gonna feel what I'm feeling. So that's what I'm.
Yeah.
I can't do anything else. I can't sugarcoat it. My son died. My son got killed. You know, there's nothing like, there's no easier way to put it. My son is no longer here.
Right.
I don't have my son anymore.
Yeah, and a lot of times you are real because you want to avoid things like that from happening, and like you know, you just want to be real. Like you have to be real, and especially now, like it happened and you can't take it back. But you know, now like you're advocating for him, and he has a brother, right? And how old is his brother?
3. And he had just gotten out of the car minutes before the crash happened.
Oh, so he was there too.
He got out of the car because he seen his dad grabbing the fishing rods, and he had a toy fishing rod. And when he seen his dad putting them away, he said, "Daddy, I want to get my fishing rod." So he let Jerry, which is Javier's brother, he let him out of the car to go get his fishing rod. And then that's when it happened. So I would have lost both of my kids right there. I would have lost both of them.
Right. And like I said, there's not a single thing I've acknowledged that there's not a single thing I can say to heal anything. But what I can ask is, since that happened, what is your relationship with Jerry like now?
Once again, I'm going to have to be very raw.
Just be real, honestly.
And I don't want other parents to see this podcast and not understand what I'm feeling, because they're not in my shoes. They didn't just lose their firstborn. But people who know. Like, people who were really in our inner circle will know that me and Javi, that being my firstborn, we were really knit close. Like, we didn't have Jerry until Javier was 5. So those first 5 years was just me and Javi. And me and his dad used to go through like little fights. We were young, so sometimes he would leave, or we would have our moments, but it would always just be me and Javi. Like, it was always me and him. And then when Jeremiah's came, he grew more of a bond with his dad. So it was always like me and Javi, him and Jerry, Daddy and Jerry.
Right.
Not saying that we all didn't love each other. We all loved each other.
Like, I'm a mama's boy. Like,
right. Like, we all loved each other. But
yeah.
When we would, for example, when we would take pictures, Javi was always on my side, Jerry was always with Daddy. Or when we were eating at restaurants, I'm always with Javi, he's always with Jerry.
Yeah.
It just worked. It was just that way.
It's a dynamic that was created, yeah.
Right. So I still love Jeremiah. I love him a lot, but sometimes I am jealous. I am jealous that he's here and Javi's not. You know what I'm saying? It hurts me sometimes, because not only that, but they're freaking identical. The only thing that's different is their eyes. Jerry has brown eyes, Javi had my eyes. Right. So it's hard to look at Jeremiah sometimes, because I'm seeing Javier when he was a baby, and it's fucking me up a little bit. Like, it makes me upset. Like, sometimes it hurts to look at Jerry. Sometimes, and mind you, he picked up all of his big brother's patterns. He wants to eat Takis like Javi did. He wants to eat hot Cheetos like Javi did. He wants to watch the shows that Javi did. So it's like a constant reminder of Javi, and it hurts me to know that now he's not here. Right. And then not only that, but he was the little brother. So it hurts me even more knowing that now he has to grow up and not
he's gonna have
a big brother.
Yeah, he's gonna have to grow up very fast.
Now he's 3. And this is what hurts me too. Like, I don't remember nothing when I was 3.
Right.
I don't want him to forget his big brother. His big brother loved him.
Right.
They were so close. So I constantly every day try to show Jerry these videos of him and Javi running around or playing on the scooter or fighting, because I have lots of videos. I always took videos. We could be brushing our teeth and I was taking a video. I wanted to have every single moment of them. Right. So I have those videos and I show him, and my relationship with Jerry is still my relationship with Jerry. It's just I wish
it's also
Javi was here.
Right.
I just wish Javi was here. And I feel bad. Like, sometimes I look at Jerry and I'm like, I love you, but like, I wish Javi was here too.
Right.
Like,
I don't think, and honestly, that shouldn't and doesn't change your relationship with Jerry, because that can always blossom. He's 3 years old. It's so, you like you just said, like, he grew up in a different part of your life. Like, you had, like, Javi's your firstborn son. You had him for the first 5 years, just you two together. And now, and Jerry is in your life as well, and he's going to get to an age, where he can start comprehending and understanding things. And I think the one thing that is amazing that you've done is that you've tried to capture every single moment, and those moments are how Jerry can remember Jav.
And that's what my goal is. Like, every day I constantly ask him, who's Javi? So I know that he'll say my big brother. Like, I have to constantly make sure, because if he grew up and didn't remember who Javi was, it would break my soul. Like, it would hurt me so bad, because Javi would never forget him, Yeah. And so that's what I do. I just show him videos all the time. And I talk about him still. Like, I don't try to bring him up too much to Jerry, because then Jerry asks questions. He thinks he's still at the hospital. Right. Like, he'll ask us sometimes, like, where's Javi? And I'll redirect the question. I'll ask him, well, where's Javi? And he'll say he's at the doctor's, and I'll say, yeah, because that's the last place he's seen his brother. He's seen him get reeled into a hospital. So we just kept it at that for now, because I don't want to tell him that he's not here.
He's young.
Yeah. He's young. And he doesn't remember anything either. He doesn't know, because I've asked him. I'll ask him what happened, and he'll be like, I don't know, mommy.
He doesn't remember.
He doesn't know.
So when the accident happened, what did what did your son's father do? Like what, like, because it must have happened so fast.
It happened so fast, 107 miles per hour. Can you imagine? Can you imagine by the time you turn around to grab something, someone slammed into your car?
Right.
Like, it happened so fast. When it happened, another car drove by, seen what happened. Mind you, he still had Jeremiah's. So it was muddy. Jeremiah was wearing Crocs and he had got stuck in the mud. So he heard the car slam. He heard the car accident. He didn't even know that it was a car accident. He said it was so loud that he thought something happened in the sky. Like
Oh, wow.
like a airplane or something crashed. That's how loud it was, he said.
Right.
So he didn't even know it was the car until he looked, and I guess he went into utter shock, and Jeremiah was stuck, and he grabbed him out of the mud and he called me because the guy, random pedestrian, had stopped and was already calling 911. So he called me, and he calls me, and I'm up at the front register, and I'm in the middle of talking to a customer, and the customer's like telling me about like his son and like how he's like basically like a story of his son, and I didn't want to cut him off, but I seen the phone ringing, and I didn't want to cut the customer off, but so I was, mind you, I just spoke to his dad too, like a few minutes ago. So I'm like, okay, he's probably just calling to tell me he's on his way now. So I almost did not answer that phone call because I didn't want to cut the customer off, and then I seen it ringing, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I got to answer this phone call, and I'm like, hello. And he's just screaming. He's just like, Javi, stuck in the car. He's stuck in the car. And I'm just so confused. I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? At this point, I don't even know what happened. I didn't know that a car slammed into him. I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know what the circumstances were.
Right.
So he's still screaming on the other line. I'm still confused, not knowing what's happening. And I guess he put me in his pocket. And I just hear like, people pull, like I just hear voices everywhere.
Stuff happening.
He's in the car, get him out the car. We can't get the car open. And I'm hearing all of this, but I'm not getting any answers because I'm screaming at the top of my lungs on the other line, but I'm not getting a response back. I just hear everything. He finally gets back on the phone, and I'm like, what's happening? Where's Javi? And he's telling me he's stuck in the car. They're trying to get him out now. I'm like, is he breathing? That's all I care about. Is he breathing? And they're telling me, yeah. He said, yeah, he's breathing. I see him breathing. So at this point, I'm like, okay, F everything else. He's breathing. Now I got to find my way up there because I personally don't drive on the highway, especially not an hour and 30 minutes away. So I had to call my brother. That's the part too. I had to make these phone calls. I had to call these people. And in order to say, hey, I need you to take me all the way up to Atlantic City at 3 o'clock in the morning, I have to tell you what's going on. So I'm a wreck. I still don't really know what's happening. All I'm telling my brother, I'm just like, Javi's been in a car accident. He's stuck in the car. They're saying he's breathing. They're getting him out the car. We got to go up to Atlantic City right now. He comes. We take the drive up there. Like I said, it takes an hour and 30 minutes. We got there in 30 minutes. By that time, they had already had him in the hospital. He was already in the trauma bay. When I get to the hospital, I just run right to the back. Obviously, there's maybe like 10 cops there. They're trying to talk to me. They're trying to calm me down. They're trying to grab me. And I'm just like,
get the fuck off of me.
Exactly. Oh, and that's exactly what I said. I'm like, everyone needs to back the fuck up. Just take me to my son. So one of the doctors comes out and she's like, you're the mom, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, take me to my son. Where's my son? So she's like, are you sure you want to go back there? I'm like, take me to my son right now. So she takes me to the back. Also, Orlando, which is Javier's dad, is trying to grab me too. And he just seen what happened to my son. So he's all like emotional, but I'm still so like in a state of shock that I couldn't even attend to him. I couldn't even attend to him or care about his feelings. Or I seen my son, my 3-year-old there too.
Yeah.
I didn't even run to him. I just ran right to that door because they wouldn't let me through that door. So she finally takes me back, and I go back to the bay, and there's like maybe 4 or 5 doctors around him, and there's someone holding a big bubble in his mouth and another one pressing his chest. But when I walked into that room, I looked at all the doctors' faces, and they were like more so like shaking their head like that's it. And I'm just like, no. And I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. I'm like, you guys are not about to fucking give up, because if it was your kid, you wouldn't give up. And they're like, we did everything. Like, he's not waking up. We tried. It's already been an hour, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like freaking out. I don't want them to stop. So at this point now I'm like, all right, well, if you guys want to give up, then I'm going to fucking do it. So now I'm on top. The doctor's pumping his chest. I'm on top of the doctor's hand and I'm pumping his chest too. And I'm talking to Javi and I'm like, Javi, mommy's here now. Like, now you can wake up. And I'm talking to God again. Once again, I'm talking to this man up there. And I'm asking him, and I'm like, if you're real, you got to wake this little boy up. Like, it's not his time to go. And I'm whispering in my son's ear, and I'm like, Javi, wherever you are, like, you're not supposed to be there. Like, find your way back, follow mommy's voice. And I'm screaming. So, like, if there was, like, brain cell energy or something, he would hear it or, like, you know. So they kicked me out the room after that, after I started on top of the doctor. And I was, like, you know, having a moment. Now I have those same 10 cops literally taking me off of my son's body. So they succeed. It's 10 of them, 1 of me. They take me off my son's body. They take me back to the room. She comes out, the same doctor, and she's like, basically to give me the message. Like, and I'm like, no. I didn't want to hear that shit. You're not about to tell me he's gone. So I tell her exactly that. I'm like, no, you're not about to tell me he's gone. Let me go. Let me be with my son. So she lets me go back. And at this point, I guess they had pronounced him. So they had pronounced him and they left us there. It was me, my brother, my mom, eventually, Javi's dad, Javi's aunt. And we're literally, every single one of us are there and we're not giving up on him. And I'm blowing air down my son's nose. I'm blowing air. And at this point, he has a neck brace on and he has a tube down his throat. And his like whole face was covered, and I'm there blowing air in his nose, blowing air in his mouth. I'm sucking blood out of his mouth because as I'm blowing his nose, it's coming out of his mouth, and I'm pumping and I'm pumping and I'm pumping and I'm talking to him. I'm on the hospital floor and I'm screaming and I'm crying and I'm calling people and I'm trying to do everything I can to wake this little boy up, and he just wouldn't wake up. But they allowed us to be with him there for 4 hours, and those 4 hours, we never stopped. We never once gave up. Those whole 4 hours, we continued to pump his chest and we continued to blow the air at him and we continued to talk to him. Those whole 4 hours, we never stopped. Even the last few minutes when she said, we got to take the body up to the morgue, I'm like, no. And even those last couple minutes, I continued to pump his chest and I continued to try to wake him up and I just couldn't. And then I had took the sheet off of him because I wanted to see if he was hurt anywhere, but he wasn't. And I seen that he had defecated, and I already knew then, like, that was my clarity that he was gone. But I still wanted to try. Like, something in me was still saying, like, keep going, like, keep trying, like, a miracle could happen, like, he could wake up. So I continued to do that. I continued to try. All of us did. And then while they took him, they were supposed to already take him up to the morgue already. But since we were there and there were so many of us and they seen how hard we were, like, trying, like, I think at one point even the nurses said, well, like, what if she does wake him up? Like, what if she does keep trying and he does wake up? So I guess they just let us, you know, rock out. And then, sorry.
No, don't.
And then I would say around, like, the 4th hour, mind you, we're still pumping, we're still trying, we're still talking to him, we're rubbing his body, like, trying to not let it get stiff, but it ended up getting stiff, and that's when we knew, like, it's not working. So then we were looking at his fingernails, and they were all, like, purple, and his eyes were, like, slightly open, like, the whole time, and then they closed, like, by themselves. And I knew, like, it was happening. So when they told us, like, okay, it's time, we have to take him up, we didn't want to take him up yet because, like, his body wasn't, like, cold or anything. Like, it was still so warm. And we didn't know, like, you know, wouldn't your body have gotten cold at that point? So we're still, like, holding on to hope. Like, no, his body was still so warm. So we just didn't believe it. And once again, they had to pull us out of that room, too, in order to take him up because we didn't want to leave him there either. So that's literally, like, and mind you, while we're all going through this guy is already at home. He's already at home in his bed with his mom and his family.
I pride myself on always knowing what to say, and in this very moment, I think it's the first time I ever like makes me think about like my mom, what she would do, or like how any mom would react, and like
I even told them when she looked at me and she said, "There's nothing we can do." I said, "What's killing him? What's killing him? What's taking him right now?" And she said it was blunt force trauma.
Yeah.
That there was no oxygen in the brain, and et cetera, et cetera. So at that point, I'm just like, okay, well, like, take mine then. You know, if the brain is not right, if he needs a brain, take mine then. If he needs a heart, take mine then. And they wouldn't do it. And I was sitting there like, I don't care what piece of body you need to take from me to wake him up, but wake him up. Like, do what you need to do. And they were just saying that it had been too long. Like, that wouldn't have even worked if they did try to transfer any brains or hearts or anything. But I tried, and I would have. I didn't even want them to put me to sleep or nothing. Just cut me open right here. Like, just wake the little boy up. And that's probably like the hardest thing, is that I the whole 30 minutes up there, I'm thinking to myself, because they said that he was okay and that he was breathing. I'm like, okay, like, maybe it's just like brain damage. And I didn't care at that point either if he couldn't talk or if he couldn't walk. Like, I didn't care. Like, anything but death, like anything but him not being here anymore, you know, like, but that's just what it was. Like, that's just what it was.
Yeah. And so, I mean, honestly, like, I have the utmost respect for you to even come and share this, because I know how difficult it can be. And like, a mother and their child is like the most sacred relationship there is. And
especially a mom and a boy.
Right. Yeah, because honestly, like, dude, like, the whole time, like, you were talking about this story, I was thinking about like my mom and shit like that. And it's like, man, I just have so much respect for you, and I hope some good comes out of this. And the one thing I will say is that the person who committed this, I don't think should even be mentioned. I don't think should even be acknowledged in any type of way. It's about you and Javier and your family, and that's the important thing. And as well as the love of that your friends and family have shown. And is there anything out of the situation that you've acquired that is like, that made you feel any type of comfort or anything? No.
Not a thing.
Yeah.
Not a thing. Not a thing. I'm not myself. Like, I try to be like, my friends are there. Like, if it wasn't for them to be there, I would have already deteriorated. I wouldn't have been okay.
Right.
But I think because so many people were there when it first happened, like, we weren't left alone during at least the first whole month. Like, people were in and out of the house constantly. So we never had a minute to literally like sit there and like go crazy. In other words, like, because at nighttime is when it hits me, and I know it's because there's no one in my face. You know, that's the only time. Like, it hits me. I always get emotional around 2-3 o'clock, and then I'm up until like 7 a.m. because I'm just like going through photos, and you know, I don't like to go to sleep without at least hearing his voice or seeing his face, because I would have heard his voice every day if he was here. So I try my best to like watch his videos and like keep his voice in my head, keep his like little movements with his hands and the way he danced. And, you know, I just try to keep that all there, like as if he was still present. Like, I'm trying not to ever let anything slip my mind, like the way he pronounced certain words or, you know.
And
like,
I think there's something really special about that, like keeping his memory alive. And you hear it all the time. I'm sure a million people have told you that. But that is important, because who he was came directly from who you are. You were an amazing mother, and you mentioned it yourself before that Jerry looks exactly like that looked like Javi. And
he does.
And I think that, like I said, there is no silver lining to the situation at all.
There's not. And I don't expect anybody, like, I don't expect any of you guys to know what to say.
No.
Like, I don't know what to say half the time. I'm just sharing my son's story.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing anyone can say. You know, there's really not.
There isn't. And
I appreciate the people that try, like the people that ask me how I'm doing, and, you know, but they know the answer
Right,
to that question.
right.
So it's just like,
Right.
and I don't know how to answer it because what do you
Right.
want me to say?
Right.
I'm not okay.
Right.
I'm not doing well.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
let's be real.
I wish a car would hit me today. Like, because
Yeah.
those are the things that are on my mind. Do you want to hear that? Like, you know, so I ask people to like refrain from asking me those questions. Like, how are you? Are you okay? Because no, don't
Yeah,
like ask
yeah.
me if are you thirsty? Are you okay? Like, I mean, not, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you know, ask me something else. Like, do you need something
Right.
or what did you do today? Or,
Right.
you know, but
Right.
every day ever since my son has left me, I like dedicate every day to him.
Right. And
Like
that-
every day
yeah.
I'm doing something new for him. Like whether it's putting a new candle on his memorial or putting a new decoration, or I still buy him chips from the store, like whatever, if I feel like he would have wanted that, or if I'm in the store and I see something he would have wanted, I still buy it. He was supposed to go to real school this year. We still bought him a backpack, and that was after he passed away. But I'm not gonna like, you know,
Right. And you shouldn't.
tell myself that he's not here. Like I know he's not, but I'm not gonna make myself feel that. I'm gonna still keep his memory alive. I'm still act like he is here, you know? We bring his ashes outside. We all sit out there, we play Uno, we eat seeds, we drink, we like, you know, we just try to act like as if he was still here.
Yeah.
You know, like my friends' kids come over, they ride the scooters. They, you know, like it hurts me sometimes to see them all riding up and down the like up and down the block without Javi, because
Yeah.
I'll look over there. You know, I'll always make sure like they don't go too far or everything. And I'm always expecting like to see Javi riding down the block too. And then it hits me like, you know, I have to, I'm going through stuff, you know, inside of my own head. Like obviously I don't constantly speak on it because who wants to constantly hear like bad thoughts, you know? So I just try to like, when my friends are around, I try to just focus on them. You know, I just put my attention
Stay
on them.
present.
Yeah. Like that's why we play like games on the phone, or like we just do things to keep our
Your mind.
mind off of it, which it still never fully works, but it helps. So, you know, my mom just left us. My mom stayed with us for the entire month. Like she literally moved in for a month, and you know, having her there was a help.
Right.
My one friend, she comes literally every other day, like on time, same time every day, 5:30
Yeah.
every other day. So, you know, it's like we look forward to those things because the house is quiet now.
Right.
Jerry's not fighting with his brother now. They're not arguing. They're not spilling toys everywhere. They're not screaming and playing. So it's very quiet now. And Jeremias gets bored. He's lonely now. Like he doesn't have his brother. And we notice it. It's only been like one day since we've been alone, but we notice it. You know,
yeah.
he's bored. He's
Yeah.
he's not he doesn't never come and just sit next to us on the sofa. Like he's always bothering Javi. Like he'll go and torment Javi. Like they literally, you know, they were brothers.
Yeah.
That's what brothers did. They
Yeah.
fought, they fight all, you know, so
Yeah.
not having that now. And like, he gets curious. He asks us sometimes, like he'll be like, when's Javi come home? Or like, where's Javi? And like I said, I just redirect it. Like I'll ask him so I know what he's thinking.
Right.
And I'll just agree with it. Like, oh,
Right.
he's at the doctor's. And I'll just say, yeah, he's at the doctor's. So
Yeah, and that's in your discretion of when you do tell him. you
yeah,
know, you know?
I feel like I said, I don't remember anything when I was 3, but I'm gonna try my best to embed those videos in him
Yeah.
and keep it alive, like for him, so that he can grow up and remember. But obviously, like when he does hit that age, he's gonna know. You know, he's gonna know he's not at the doctor's. You know, so
Yeah, and like I said, I think if your support system and family says anything, is that you have great people around you, and I think that's gonna be super important. And I think that, you know, holding the ones you do have tighter, I think is huge.
even the ones that are not here physically,
Mm-hmm.
like all of these people that are constantly sharing my son's story, constantly messaging me these beautiful long messages, like actually taking their time to like write me these messages, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think if it wasn't for all of these people, minus my immediate family, my close friends that were there physically, I don't think if it was for all of these people on the internet, that I wouldn't have been able to fight as much as I am now. Like I was already fighting, but they pushed me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was already
Yeah.
taking the steps, but they are pushing me. Like
Yeah.
there are days where in the beginning stages, there were days where I couldn't wake up and post, and I would finally log on and see that they were doing it for me. You know, they were keeping it alive without me, you know? So the days that I can't do it, they were doing it, you know? So it was like,
Yeah.
and that meant a lot to me because these are people that never met me, never met my son, anything. And they felt for it. Like they felt it. It hurt them.
Yeah.
And that hurts me. It hurts me because it is fucking sad. It's sad that an 8-year-old boy was asleep and got killed. You know, like he wasn't doing anything wrong. He was waiting to go home. In fact, my son's last words on this earth were, "Daddy, wake me up when we get home," because he knew he was going to fall asleep in the car and he knew that they were about to go home. So that was his last words were, "Daddy, wake me up when we get home." And my son never got to wake up. So it's sad.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for like people like you who want to take the time and hear the story and push the story, like it wasn't for the news reporters who wanted to cover the story, or it's really the people. That's who is pushing it.
It's you.
Well,
It's because I'm gonna tell you this. So I'm gonna cut you off for 1 second.
they helped me though. They helped me.
I gotta cut you off. It is you. It is not us. We have nothing. We do not have to come home and have to deal with anything that you've dealt with. You are strong enough to reach out to me. I've had 3 people reach out on your behalf to get you on. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yes. Yeah. It's not us. It is you, because it is the power and the like the love you have for your son. It's just, if people see that, and it's like it has nothing to do with the other person or whatever. It's you and the love for your son. And if you can inspire myself, I want to go home. I want to call my mom right now and tell her how much I love her. Like I'm not trying to be a bitch right now, but it's things like it is you. It is nothing to do with anything around you. It is you, because you are the one who is inspiring people. And I think that is the number one thing that I got attached to with you and your stories, that you inspire people truly. And because you have went through the most unimaginable thing possible. You did not have 6 months to a year because your child was diagnosed with cancer to say goodbye. You had 30 minutes to drive down the fucking 95. Like I
didn't even get to say goodbye.
You didn't. And
I didn't get to say goodbye. I didn't get to spend his last day with him. I didn't get to see him. I didn't get to talk to him.
Yeah.
I didn't get to. I didn't get that.
And there's no sugarcoating that.
There's not.
But you have the strength that you have, and just the pure like strength, just straight up strength.
Everyone says that. It just doesn't feel like strength. Like it doesn't feel like I'm being strong. I just feel like I need to do this. Like it's just something saying like he's not here anymore. Like and he knows, like Javi knew no one could mess with him. Not even his dad, not his grandma, not his aunts, not his cousins, not friends, no one on the block. No one could mess with him because he knew mommy was gonna protect him. And that was a fact.
Yeah.
He got bullied at a park one day by some bit older kids, and he came right to mommy. I went right over to the big kids, and they were like, no. Like, he knew nothing was ever going to happen to him because mommy had him. But the one time mommy's not there, something happens to him, you know? Like,
yeah. And like I said, that there's no rhyme, reason. I can't sit here and try to elaborate any of that because I refuse to, because it's a hard thing to talk about, to be quite honest with you. But what I can say is, like I said, I say this all the time, but my grandmom told me that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, and life is perspective. And what you have now is you have an amazing son who's still growing. You have an amazing support system, an amazing family, and you have Javi's memories that can live on. And like I said, I think that's why people love you and your story, and they're so attached to it. And because I see it. I went and I looked down your whole entire page, and I see it. I see the kind of son you was with dancing on TikTok, and I see the love and support that people show in the comments of you. And like I said, like it is you, and you may not feel like you have the strength, but the fact that you're here today and on this couch talking about your story is strength.
I almost didn't come. I was going to tell you I couldn't do it because it's just hard. It's hard to relive it every day. You know, like it's hard to talk about it. It's hard to think about it. It's hard, but I know if I don't do it, who's going to do it? Right. If I don't fight for my kid, who's going to do it? Right. No one loves him how I love him. So it has to be me. It has to come from me. You know, I made him. He's mine. I have to be his voice. So that's why I'm literally trying so hard. Like I'm trying so hard. Every day I wake up, last thing I do before I go to sleep is post about him. The first thing I do about when I wake up is I post about him. Like, you know, I'm posting about him before I even brush my teeth. Like, it's the first thing I do. Like I said, every day I try to just dedicate something to him. I don't care what it is, whether it be me, like, cleaning his room or putting a candle on his memorial, lighting a candle for his, like any small thing, like.
Yeah, and that will.
I just try. Like, I'm just trying.
And he'll live on because of you. And like I said, you are, like, if it is any consolation to you, you are inspiring people. You are inspiring people to speak up. You're inspiring people to.
Someone told me
take action. It's
a
true.
mom reached out to me and she said, I wish that I would have fought for my kid the way that you fought for yours. Well, that the way that you're fighting for yours. Like, she, you know, like I said, random strangers are reaching out, and that's the hardest part about it too, is that other moms that have lost their kids are reaching out to me, and it's the things they say, they're not positive. Like, every single mom that has reached out to me and has lost a child, they're telling me, like, you're never going to be okay. It doesn't get better. It gets harder. You're going to miss them. Like, you know, it's not like anything like, oh, like, it gets better during time. They're not telling me that. These are moms that have lost their kids as well. So I already know what my future is going to be like. You know, I already know that it's going to be dreadful. I already am dreadful. Like, I think it's unfair that I get to wake up and breathe every day while he doesn't, you know? Like, I don't think being here is fair without him. Like, it just, there's no way that I can switch my perspective on that.
And like I said, in the most respectful way, I can't ever empathize. Like, I don't know what you went through. I can't, and I won't pretend to. But like I said, while, like, I want to try to at least put some kind of perspective, is, you know, you have a son here still, right? And you have, you know, there's, you know, you are inspiring people, and you do have people here still. And I feel like to some degree that has some importance to it. And like I said, Javi is not here, but I think that if you can have his memory live on, you may be able to create good from that. You may be able to start a foundation for that, for people who've lost children.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of good that can come from it. He may not ever come back, but, you know, like I said, if there's some kind of consolation, like I said, there's no consolation to ever losing a kid. I will not acknowledge that. But like I said, if there's some kind of good that can come from it, I mean,
and that's the whole, you know, that's the whole reasoning for speaking with the mayor. That's the whole reasoning for speaking with the senator. That's the whole reason for getting this story out there, is because if my son had to die, it's going to be for a reason. Right. Something's going to come out of it, you know, and whether that be New Jersey not letting kid killers walk free, then that's what it's going to be, because I'm not willing to stop. I'm not willing to give up until they do change that, because for a family to have to lose their kid and know that the killer is free every day for an entire month, and maybe more, because we're not even anywhere done with this investigation or anywhere near getting justice.
It's so new.
I don't understand it at all. I don't understand how Jersey laws work, but they're like that. So, like I said, if Javi had to die, it's gonna be for a reason. He's gonna help the next family. It's gonna be the next mom is not gonna have to worry about how come he got to go home to his mommy, but her baby didn't get to come home with her. Yeah. Because that's what I'm feeling. How come he got to go home with his mom, and I could not take my son home from that hospital? It's not fair. Shouldn't be like that.
Yeah. I mean,
the same night that we had to suffer, the same night that our family fell apart and we didn't get to go home with our son, should have been the same. It should have been the same for that family. They should have suffered too, knowing that their kid was in jail, knowing that he just killed a kid and he's going to be in there for a while. Like, they should have suffered automatically too. Because why do we have to suffer double? Why?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I keep forgetting how new this is. Like, this just happened. And like I said, the amount of strength you have to come on and even talk about this is amazing. And I seriously want to thank you for that. And you have a GoFundMe, right?
Yeah. Everyone asks us that. I don't really like promote it or post it. Obviously it helps because me and the dad are not working right now. Like, we're just not ready. We're not ready.
No.
So it does help for that. And it did cover all of his funeral expenses, which I made sure was the most beautiful thing in the entire world. So
yeah. Can you actually talk to me? What was that like? What kind of?
So I chose not to bury my kid. I couldn't do it. I didn't feel right putting him under dirt. Like, I couldn't sit there and watch dirt be piled on top of him or anything like that. You and I both know that, people show up to the cemetery for birthdays and holidays and all that, but for majority of the time, people don't really go to the cemetery. They'll go, like, pass by here and there, bring balloons, bring flowers, but just to know that he would have been over there by himself, underground, in a box, like, I couldn't do it. So I chose to keep my son. I took him
with
home.
You.
Yeah, so Now, like I said, when we're outside with his memorial playing Uno, I'll bring him out. We went to the crab to go eat crabs. I took him with us, car rides. Because guess what? If he was still here, he wouldn't have been left at home by himself. So guess what? He's coming with us. Car rides, Walmart rides. I don't care. I'll walk around with the big box I don't care. It's my son. Who's going to say something? You know, like, how dare you? Who are you to question or say anything, you know? But the same way as if he would still be here, he would have been with us. So he's still going to be with us. So, but I couldn't bury him. So I chose to do that this way, like, and I sleep with him sometimes. Like, you know, I was supposed to get his ashes in my tattoo. I was supposed to have it in my necklace. I just haven't got to that point yet where I feel as though I can separate them.
I mean, yeah.
So that's going to take me a while. But as far as the funeral, a lot of people were there. You know, like, it was people that people haven't spoke to since middle school, people that, you know, you fall off with, you had like an argument with, you never spoke to them again. Like, they show up. Family members flew in from Florida. It was, all of it was beautiful. All of it was beautiful. We released 8 doves because he was 8. I had him carried back home one more time with, you know, the horse in the carriage. And, you know, that was beautiful as well. During that time that he was out front of his home is when we released the doves. Everything was beautiful. Everything was beautiful. You know, like, everything was so nice. Like, everything went well. Everybody acted accordingly. Even people they were there that they didn't like each other, but they knew that, like, you're not doing that here, you know?
Right.
Like, so everything just went really smooth. Everything went really well. I didn't allow phones in my son's funeral. If you wanted to have your phone, you weren't going to come in. So that's just what it was. Like, I made same thing as if he was here, mommy being in mommy mode. I was in mommy mode, and no one's going to have your phone. You're not going to text in my son's funeral. You're not going to receive a phone call. You're not going to sneak a picture. We're not doing any of that. So everyone had to leave their phones. It was more like, it was very...
Be present, be there.
Exactly. It was very intimate. Like, everyone had to be present. Like, you had to, you know, be there for the person that was next to you, hug the person that's next to you, cry with the person that's next, whatever you got to do. So it was very... He went out. He went off beautifully. He went off beautifully, and I made sure of that. I wasn't gonna let it be anything less. Like, I even almost had to switch funeral homes because they didn't want to bring my son and the horses, and I wasn't letting it go.
He deserves the best.
And that was maybe like 2 nights before. Like, 2 nights before we were gonna switch the whole thing, but then I ended up speaking to the funeral director myself, and I'm just like, listen, like, I'm the mom, you know, it's my son's body. If I want to switch him out from a hearse to a horse, then let's do it.
You make it happen.
It's my son. So if you're not okay with it, then we're just not going to use your funeral services. And at that point, like, everything was already set in stone. So it's either he had to give me my last wishes for my son, or we were just going to switch everything over last minute. So he ended up doing it. And it was like, it was really beautiful. Like, it wasn't just one horse. It was 2 big, white, beautiful horses. Like, and that day was hot too. It was hot that day, very hot. And it just looked so nice. I don't know how you would call that. The carriage had Javi's name on it, and we had covered him with a blanket full of pictures of him. And it was nice, you know, it was nice. We went out to our family bar to eat after they had took him, because that was it. After that was my son's like last moments on earth before he was taken to be cremated. So I just wanted to bring him home one more time. I wanted to bring him to us one more time. You know, I wanted him to pass by his home, and the doves didn't go anywhere. There were 2 doves that sat there and watched, and it was like as if they were waiting. So, like, before Javi passed away, Javi kept asking me and his dad, when are we getting married? Like, he kept bugging out for it. Like, he was tripping out for, like, when are you guys gonna get married? Or he would come up to his dad randomly, like, when are you gonna marry my mama? Or she's gonna get a husband. Like, you know, he was really defensive and protective over me, like, literally. So, and he knew that was one of my, like, biggest wishes, is I wanted to have the same last name as my kids. You know, I wanted to be like a real family. Like, I wanted to be the Velezes, but I'm a Smith, so I couldn't never say that. So a couple days before they went crab fishing, they were planning to go get a ring. And so while we had our son there in front of our home, in front of family and everybody, I guess my fiance now, he decided, he was like, okay, well, this is what Javi wanted. And in front of all the family, in front of everybody, with our son's body there in the carriage and everything, and the doves didn't leave. There was 2 doves that sat right on top of the roof. It was like they were waiting for something. And his father proposed to me in front of all of our family and friends. And after that, the doves flew off. So it was like Javi was waiting there. That's what he was waiting for. Like, he knew his dad was, because we were all waiting. The birds were in there and we were all waiting. And Orlando was like, I need to use the bathroom. I'm like, you can't hold it? Like, you can't hold it? Like, there's all these people here waiting. It's hot as hell.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I'm not holding it. I have to go. But what he was really doing, he was going to get this ring. This ring is the ring.
See the rock.
Yeah, this is the ring that he proposed to me.
That's beautiful.
When I was pregnant with Javier, when I first got pregnant with him, he proposed to me with the same exact ring, because I was now pregnant with his child and he wanted to do everything right. Okay, you're about to have my kid now. You have to have my last name, et cetera, et cetera. But like I mentioned to you earlier during the podcast, we always had like little issues here and there. We were young. I was like 19. I was 19 when I had Javi. So I was, I was young. So we ended up breaking up for which reason, a long time ago. And I never got rid of the ring. And I always kept telling him, I'm going to pawn it. I'm going to pawn it. I'm going to pawn it. It's just sitting there. And he was like, his dad was like, no, give it to Javi when he gets older so he can give it to his girlfriend or his fiance, whatever. So what he went to do when he went to go pee is he went to go get this ring. And he used the same ring that he used when we were pregnant with Jav. So it's like so much more meaningful. I would rather have this one back on my finger than him and Javi go picking out a ring, you know? Like, it means it's so much more sentimental reasonings behind me rathering having this ring.
Yeah.
So it's just like so many things. It's so many things, like I told you, like there's so many questions of like why and how, and, you know, so my son had just turned 8 right before he died. He turned 8 on July 8th, which was his golden year. He turned 8 on July 8th. And he's a Cancer. Cancer season ends July 22nd, which was my son's last day. His Cancer sign is also a crab. He died crab fishing with his dad. So there's just like so many things that make me wonder, like, was this his destiny? Like, was this written? Like, was this supposed to happen? Or was this literally like a sudden tragic accident? And I went to a medium like maybe a week after or something, because at that point I'm like really desperate to connect with my son, because I didn't get to say goodbye, you know, like I didn't get to tell him like I loved him or like anything. So I went and tried to talk to a medium, which she couldn't connect with Jav. Like, she couldn't connect with him. So it made me freak out, because like I always say this to my friends and my family, and I always tell them, like, I've had this conversation maybe thousands of times, where we know that spirits and souls exist, right? There's actual proof and facts of that, right? But what we don't know, there's no proof of a God or a heaven. There isn't. No one has actually came back from heaven and said, oh, it's real up there, you know, but there are a lot of documentaries and whatever about spirits and souls, which I know for sure that they exist, and your physical dies, but not your soul. So it makes me wonder, like, okay, then where's Javi's soul? Why wasn't that medium able to connect with him? You know, like, and then you put all of those things in order. Like, I wasn't supposed to even be at work. If I wasn't at work, they would have never went crab fishing. My son never goes to sleep on those crab fishing trips either. He sits up all night on the bridge with his dad. But this particular night he goes to sleep. July 22nd,
the day Cancer's,
the Cancer season ends, and that's the day, your last day as well. Your sign is a crab. You were crab fishing. July 8th, your golden year. It's just like, like, you know, like it makes you wonder. And as a mom or someone that's grieving, maybe it's grief that makes me try to pinpoint puzzle pieces and all that. But it's just like, it makes you wonder.
Right.
What happens?
Right. And
like, where is he?
I'm a huge believer in the universe, and maybe there is something down the line that you may realize or find out about your journey and your path, you know. And like I said, it's not up to me to say that, but I think the more curious you get and the more you look into that and try to connect with your son and try to make those things happen, I think you're going to learn a lot about yourself and your family, and also Javi. And like I said, who knows what can come from it? You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, and I think that, like I said before, like I think that something beautiful is going to come out of this somehow. And like I said, like even this, I was listening to you talking about the funeral, and everything was just so beautiful and how great and perfect everything was. Like,
I had to make sure, because that little boy was perfect to a T. He was perfect. So it couldn't have been anything less for him, anything less for him at all, at all. Everything had to be a certain way. Like it had to be for him. I didn't, for my son's funeral, he wasn't in a tie outfit or, you know, the suit and tie. He was dressed how he would always dress. He had his sandals on, he had shorts on, and he had a Fortnite shirt on. That's who Javi was. That's how he dressed, and that's how he went out. He's not, you know, he never wore a suit and tie before. Why is he going to wear one now?
Right.
So that was his last outfit he wore, and I took the outfit back too before he was cremated, because I want my son's last outfit that he wore on this earth. So, you know, like we took clothes from his drawers. That's what I wanted him to be wearing at his services. You know, I wanted him to be him. You know, he was him.
Right.
So, but everything about him was perfect. Everything. His curls, his little freckles, the moles that were on his body were placed so like perfectly, like everything about him. Like, of course I'm going to say that because I'm his mom, but he was perfect. You can't look at that kid and not say like, oh my God, he's freaking gorgeous, because he was gorgeous. And then as he even got older, he was going to be so beautiful. He was going to be so beautiful. Like, come on. He had curly hair, big green eyes, big ears. Like he was just.
Yeah, he was funny too. I was watching the TikToks. He was funny.
Yeah, he was funny. And it's so sad because he was like discovering who he was and what he wanted to be. And I actually feel bad because one time he said he wanted to be a YouTuber. And I was asking him like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said a YouTuber. And I'm like, Javi, like you can be a freaking doctor. You can be an astronaut. You can be anything. What are you saying a YouTuber for? But now that I see like what these YouTubers do, and like
it's the new doctor and astronaut.
And exactly. And I'm like, I feel bad now for telling him like, why wouldn't you want to be an astronaut? Why wouldn't you want to, like, you know, I wanted him to shoot for the stars. Like, I didn't want him to start here. I wanted him to start there. And like, you figure it out. But he was figuring out who he was and what he was going to be and what he wanted and what he liked. And he randomly started drawing. And I don't know if you've seen like the drawings we had got tattooed on us. Yeah. He drew all of these.
Oh, really?
And we had brought the sketches to a tattoo artist.
Oh, wow.
And he copied them on us.
Oh, nice.
But he was figuring out how to draw. He was becoming his own little artist. He was, you know, that's what I mean. Like, he was perfect. He knew how to dance. He knew how to sing. He knew how to draw. Like, he was learning how to read, but he was doing good at math. Like, he was a good kid. He was a great kid. He was an awesome kid.
Yeah.
Best big brother, the best helper.
Yeah.
He helped everybody. Like, you need groceries brought in, he'll help. You need this thrown in the trash, he'll help. You come to our house, hey, you want water? Are you okay? Like, he was the best kid.
And that's going to live on forever.
That's why so many people are like, people that are close to us, like friends and all that, they're like hurt because you can't walk into my house and not reflect on my kids, because I was a mom that I'm always with my kids. Even my kids were with me at work. Sometimes I don't have babysitters. My kids are going with me to work today. So it affects everyone, because if you see me, you see my kids. So if I'm so close to all these people, they're close to my kids, because we were a package. Everywhere I went, they went.
Right.
You can't invite me to a party if kids can't come. I can't come to the bar. I'm at home with my mom. I can't go out. I'm home being a mom, you know? Like, I wasn't that mom. I would probably go out, twice a year? At that, maybe a birthday and like my baby dad's birthday. Yeah. Like, we would go out and have a day for ourselves. But other than that, we were kid orientated. We were fishing. We were at the beach. We were doing family vacations. Everything was for kids. Carnivals, everything. Like, kids. If the kids can't come, then we can't come. So, and that hurts too, because I dedicate my whole life to being a mom. You know, like, I don't have a talent. Like, people can sing, people can dance and draw like hobby. And then there's me who, like, I haven't explored my talent yet, or don't know what it is yet. So that was my talent.
Being a mom is a talent. Mom.
Yeah.
Being a mom is genuinely a talent.
That's what I was. I didn't know how to do anything else. Like, I knew how to be a mom.
Right. You're a provider. And you still are a mom.
I knew how to be a mom. Like, that's just what it was. I can't sing and dance and do all that. I wouldn't be a mom. Like, you know, that's what I took pride in. Like, 24/7. No, I'm with my kids. I'm always with my kids.
Yeah. And like like I said, there's a lot of moms out there who aren't as talented as you are when it comes to being a mom, and that's something that people can look up to, and I think that's a lot of people have looked up to. And like I said, you still are a mom. Well, you know, Javi, you're still a mother for Javi, you're still a mother for Jerry, and like I said, I just truly I'm just so grateful and thankful that you came and shared your story, because I think this is going to help a ton of people, and I hope it helps you in any kind of way to get your story out there. And
I appreciate it. I really do.
No worries.
Giving me the time to like get it out there. Like anything helps.
Yeah.
Anything helps. You know, anything helps at this moment. Like I said, I'll do 50 podcasts. I'll do 50 news reports. Like whatever it takes. You know, to let Javi's story be heard. Like I want everyone to know what happened to my baby. Like, you know, because it's not. Stuff like that's not supposed to happen. That's not, you know, you're not supposed to get a phone call and hear that your son is trapped in a car and that he didn't make it, you know? That's not okay, especially at 8 years old. I mean, any age for real, but at 8, like that's insane, you know?
Yeah, and it's just so fresh, and I'm not going to ask you to give any advice because it's just so fresh. It's just so new.
I just would tell moms to hold on to their kids. Like, the bar is not as important as you think. Hanging out with your friends is not as important as you think. Social media is not as important as you think. And I see moms do it all the time where their kids in front of their face and this is them. And they're trying to talk to them, but this is them. Don't do that. Pay attention to your kid, because that might be the last conversation you have with your kid. You don't know. So I just keep trying to tell that to these moms that are reaching out to me. Like, oh, I held my kid extra tight tonight after I read your story. Do it. Make sure you do hold them extra tight. Make sure if you can take off one day out of the week, if you're working 24/7, you're never with your kids, make sure you can take off that once a week just to spend time with your kid, take your kid to the park, because guess what? I was at work when my kid died. I wasn't there. Why? Because I was at work, you know? Like, it's not important. They'll replace you the next day anyway. Or someone already got my shift. Someone already took my shift.
Yeah, shit don't matter.
You know? That doesn't matter. Your kids are what matters. You don't want to have that regret in the back of your head, because it dwells on you. Like, I wasn't there for my son's last moments. You know, it fucks with you a lot. I don't remember the last conversation that I had with him. I know for sure that I told him I loved him before I went to work, because I always did. I just don't remember if I hugged him or if I kissed him. I don't know if I was in such a rush to get to work. Like, I can't remember, you know? Right. But I would just, there is no other advice to give except for to tell them to soak it in. Because you could get that phone call, like in a blink, like just like that, randomly. I just spoke to his dad minutes before that happened. I didn't think that was the phone call that I was gonna receive. Like, I didn't think that. I thought that he was gonna tell me, "All right, I'm on my way. I'll meet you there." That's what I thought that phone call was. I didn't think that he was gonna tell me that, or I didn't think I was gonna hear what I heard on the other line when I swiped answer. Like, I didn't expect that. So. They just need to don't put anything before your kids. Like, if your kid has a freaking ballerina audition and you have work, choose the ballerina audition, you know? Nothing is more important than your kid. And then they'll realize that when if not when, if something ever happened to theirs. Yeah.
You are so inspiring, and like I said, thank you just for your strength and for just coming on here and sharing your story. Like I said, I can't stress it enough. And thank you for being our support system too, Ann. And just, you know, seriously, like, anything you need from me, you let me know. I will make sure that the world sees this. I will make sure that everyone I can sees this and donate and help spread your son's mission, story, who he is. And because, like I said, he is an amazing child. He sounds like he was an amazing kid, from his curls to his freckles to his moles, everything. And
everything.
I can't thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. And I appreciate everybody else out here that's helping, and the people that messaged you, like the people that are trying, the people that are fighting with me. You are now one of them. Yeah. Like, you know.
Yeah. I'm
another person.
Team Javi.
Right. Another person added to our army, because we have a long journey coming up. We do. We have a long journey coming up. We still have to wait for this guy to get arrested. We have trials to go to. Yeah. We have protests to do. Like, we're in for a long journey, and the more people, the better.
I can guarantee you it's not going to be alone.
Oh, I know. You know. I know. Because like I said, there's people that don't give up. Like, there's days that I can't physically get on the internet and do it, and they do it for me. So, you know.
Thank you. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this episode of The Loft. Kevin Nichols, that's Kayla Smith. Justice for Javi, Team Javi.
Justice for Javi.
Peace, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.